Can I find him a job here in this country, here, so that he can also come, so that you are comfortable working here, because we don't want to lose you. I can tell you she was an asset for the institution. And so, even before I landed in the country there, I had a job, and a very good job. Was that the will of God? I believe it was the will of God. You see, sometimes you may plan things. Perhaps you've been, I know we have the fourth years here. You're already thinking about life after university. That is the question that most of us ask ourselves. Will I be able to find work when I finish school? Will I be able to find something that keeps me going when I clear from campus? What is the Lord's will for me? Sometimes we think so much about what has not happened, about the future. And yet God, the same God who feeds the sparrow, the same God who provided for Abraham when he told him, leave your country and go to a far country that I'll show you. We seem obsessed with wanting to know what it is that we'll do when we leave this right here where we are. What is it? Where is it that I'm going to work? What will I be doing? How much will I be earning? The Bible seems to answer that question, and yet many times we still have that question lingering in our mind. He says, seek ye first what? The kingdom of God. And what? His righteousness. But seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness. And what? All these things, not just one, not two, not three. And all these things shall be done what? Shall be added unto you. When Elijah was sent to the widow was without food. And what did Elijah do? He told her, woman, give me some bread. Give me some food. And what did she say? Even the word I have is not enough for myself and for my little child. We are going to prepare this, eat it, and do what? Die. So before they die, they wanted to have their last meal. And Elijah goes ahead and tells them what? Yeah, make that food for me and give it to me first before you do what? Before you eat it. I don't know how many of us, if they were in the situation of the woman, would have actually gone ahead and done what the man of God asked the woman to do. If you were the woman, what would you have done in that situation? There's just one meal for you and your child. It's not even enough for both of you. But then the servant of God says, yeah, make some food. And before you eat it, give it to me. As Elijah lived with the woman, God did not give her the supply that they needed for the next 1 month. God did not give them the supply that they needed for the entire 3 years when there was a drought in the country. God, in other words, did not manifest himself with plenty of food so that the woman would be like, wow, I think it's a good idea to have this man here because I will have food. No, God did not do that. He does not work like that. He gets you to the point where you have nothing before you. He gets you to the point where there is no hope. When you look at yourself, you as an individual, you cannot do it on your own. And at that very moment, when you have accepted his will, when you have said, oh, let your will be done, that is when he manifests himself. At the point when he knows that you have no other solution, he provides. Did he provide for them the meal? And another, and another, and another. Now, let me ask you. When he provided for them the meal that day, I'm talking about Elijah, did he also provide for the following day at that very day? Ask yourself, when you've come to the brink of life, what do you do at that point? Do you ask God to do his will? Or do you surrender and say, wacha ikue. You know, you have no hope whatsoever. I want to spend a few minutes and talk about myself. You know, many times in life, I'm talking about my life and my wife because she's here, she can bear witness. We've seen God manifest himself in our life. So one time, I think 2006 or 2007, we were so broke at home. And we needed to go to church. We were leaving those sides of Waithaka on your way to Kikuyu. And this Sabbath morning we checked, and the only money we had at hand was 50 shillings. 50. Transport from our house to town was, I think, 50 shillings per person. And we wanted to go, the two of us, to church. And so my wife was like, leo na tutafanya service hapa nyumbani. I said, no, we are going to church. We serve. I'm the choir director. And the choir is going to sing. We have to make it to church. And so we decided we're going to board a vehicle from home to Kawangware. That was going to cost us 20 shillings. So out of 50 shillings, how much do we have left? 30 shillings. And we still have a long way from Kawangware to New Life SDA Church, 5th Ngong Avenue. That was our church back then. And so we said, now that this money is not enough for us, let's walk to church. And walk we did. We walked. By the time we were getting to church, they were singing the last song. But anyway, we go to church. Now the story does not end there. While we are at church, as we are doing the last song, my wife's aunt calls her and tells her, where are you guys? Oh, in church. Can you guys come to town? I'm in town. Now, town is farther away from our home. We have 30 bob. And at this point, I'm not so sure I want to go to town. But he said, you know what? What do we lose anyway? We've come this far. We are here. We missed church anyway. We had the last song. And he said, okay, fine. Let's go ahead to town. What does it cost us anyway? We're talking about thy will be done. If it was my desire, my will was, let's stay in church. And then after the service, let's start walking back home because we have a long way to go. We don't have any money anywhere here. We're not making any money at church. But then we are called to go farther away off. And so we go. And when we get to town, we narrate the story to her aunt. She laughs. She gets us some food. We eat. And at the end of the day, she gives us 28,000. 28,000. Now, back then, 28,000 is not 28,000 right now. That was a lot of money. That was enough money to pay our rent and enough money for us to spend. Sometimes when you get to that point where you believe in yourself, you can do nothing, that's when God comes in. If we had decided that you're not going to go to church, would we have gotten the 28,000? No. Thy will be done. I would stand here and tell you stories about my life. Some of them you will not believe them. But I tell you, there is nothing I have to gain to tell you these stories. I'll just tell you two more, and I'll be done for the day. I'm not here to preach a sermon. I'm not a preacher. I'm not even taught on how to preach. I have very little concept of preaching. But I believe that testimonies make a huge difference in life. So there's this one time we are out of the country, and it's that time of the month when we are so broke. So broke, it happens. And we have guests coming from Nairobi, the New Life Choir, the kids choir, they're called Proactive Kids. They were coming to the country and they called me, they told me, we are coming there, so kindly pick us at the airport. You'll take us to this place. And I said, yeah, I know those places, I'll take you guys, no problem. And they added that you're going to pay you for that. I said that was very good because I was not prepared to drive all that journey for nothing. So they come and I pick them from the airport, and they tell me, before you take us where we are going to stay, I want you to take us to town because we want to buy some things for our stay here. I tell them that's fine. So we go to town. I take them to town, a place called Rubangira. Yeah, something like that. And while they're there shopping, I'm seated in my car and I ask myself, why am I broke? So I ask God, why am I broke? Why don't I have money? And that is how I speak to my God. By the way, I question him because I am his child. He is my provider. So I ask him, why am I broke? Then as if to answer me, I get out of the car from the front seat, I go to the back seat of the car, I sit down. And at this middle point, there is a compartment that usually opens, and I usually put my, magazines to read. So I put my hand in, trying to pull out a magazine to read. And as I pull out, as my hand goes in to pull out a magazine, I feel like there's a paper somewhere down there. I can't really see. The gap is very small. So I'm struggling to get this, whatever paper that was with my two fingers. So I pull it